name is Larnerd, and today I'm going to give a brief overview of France's history from the end of the 11th century to the 13th century. I will be highlighting certain important events and historical figures that helped to make France what it is today. There are several topics that I'll be covering: the Crusades, the building of cathedrals, the 100-Year War, and Joan of Arc, as well as their influence on France. To begin, let's consider the Crusades. For quite a while, Christians were traveling when they could to Jerusalem, the city where Christ died. This pilgrimage was in order to receive forgiveness for sins. But the trip was a dangerous one, as the Turks had taken the Holy Land and continually attacked the travelers, stealing from them and often killing them. And so Pope Urban II went to France and called for an expedition that would deliver Jerusalem from the hands of the Turks. Among those that left on the long journey were many well-equipped nobles, but also a majority of poor ones attempting to escape their lot in life. The first wave of crusaders were massacred, but many followed, and the first crusade managed to take Jerusalem, and for close to 100 years, Jerusalem was under Frankish control. In all, there were 800 crusades that spanned close to 800 years, led by the kings and emperors of Europe, in particular Saint Louis, one of the kings of France. The death of Saint Louis ended the French participation in the Crusades, and a tired Europe abandoned the Holy Lands to the Muslims. As a result of the Crusades, a new world was discovered, the Middle Eastern civilization, richer and more cultured than that of Europe. The Crusaders brought back much more refined tastes for silk, rich brocades, carpets, fruits, nuts, and spices. They also came in contact with new ideas, and especially they learned the advantages of joining with their neighbors for a common goal. It is the beginning of a new era for France. It is also an age of faith for all of Western Europe, and many churches and cathedrals were built, which we still admire today. These are beautiful monuments covered in sculptures. As the common people cannot read, the sculptures and stained glass windows tell the story of the Bible for them. There were two styles constructed: the Romanesque and the Gothic. The Romanesque cathedrals are characterized by round arches, and the Gothic by their flying buttresses, which allowed for higher structures. The most famous are the cathedrals of Reims, of Notre-Dame de Paris, and Notre-Dame de Chartres. During this period, England, who already owns a part of Normandy, has continued to acquire through marriages other French provinces. In 1328, the French king dies without a direct male heir, and Edward III, King of England, asks for the throne of France. There is no legal reason to refuse him, but as you can well imagine, the French barons have no intention of putting an English king on the throne of France. So they invoke an ancient law that supposedly states that a descendant of a woman cannot have the crown. And so a war begins, the 100-Year War, a war for the throne of France. This war was fought only on French soil and was disastrous for the country. Pillaging, theft, and destruction of villages and farms was carried out by both armies. There were epidemics of the plague, and famine was horrifying. The country was dying of hunger and fear. England won great victories in Crécy as well as Azincourt. In 1429, the English hold a large part of France, including Paris. The French King Charles VI, insane for quite a while, has died. His daughter married the King of England, Henry V, and he is crowned King of France in Notre-Dame de Paris. What is next for France? The appearance of Joan of Arc. A devout young girl of 17, born in Domremy, France. While watching her sheep in the pasture, she hears voices that tell her to deliver France. She is certain these voices are that of Saint Michael and of Saint Catherine, the patron saint of young girls. Considering the difficulty of the task, Joan is able to gather a troop of men, and they go to Chinon, where the crown prince lives in hiding. He is the son of Charles VI and is 19 years old. He was not crowned king, as there were doubts as to his legitimacy, as well as the fact that the English hold Paris and that their king is on the throne of France. He is shy, broke, abandoned by almost all, and afraid of being the victim of an assassination plot. To test Joan, he hides among his men. Yet Joan goes right to him, kneels at his feet, and tells him that God has sent her to deliver France. He joins his forces with hers. They march on Paris, and they deliver Orléans and proceed from victory to victory. Joan finally brings the prince to Reims, where all of the kings of France since the first Clovis have been coronated, and there the prince is crowned King of France under the name of Charles VII. Yet Joan's story does not end happily. One day she is injured, made a prisoner by a soldier allied with the English. She is sold to the English, who keep her prisoner for a year. They judge her a sorceress and heretic by an unjust trial, and she is condemned to death and burned alive on a stake in Rouen at the age of 19. But at her death, France's victories continue. The defeats are broken, and in 1453, the 100-year war ends. Charles VII is the one and only King of France. France is saved, but more importantly is that the fact that the Joan of Arc, a new sentiment has appeared: patriotism. Now, instead of France's inhabitants considering themselves as people of different provinces, they see themselves as Frenchmen. France is now reality, a spiritual person that must be protected and saved at any cost. And now France enters an era of transformation. And this will be the topic of next month's historical overview of La Belle France. Thank you very much for tuning in, and please do return for our next segment.